A honey farmer, that's where we'll begin. And I want to keep something in mind here. First of all, I love honey. Who doesn't? We should protect the bees. But this is about the farmer behind this who voted for Donald Trump and now has buyer's remorse, okay? And I'm going to try to get through this without judgment because Cenk is the one that reminded me of this, that people got misinformation deliberately, so we'll call it disinformation, and we can't judge them. They went to their source, and this is what they were told, and they took it. So don't just think that everybody who voted for Donald Trump is, this evil doer. I had been thinking that actually, but Cenk helped change my mind. So let's talk about this honey farmer who now has regret for voting for Donald Trump due to tariffs. What's the cost to him, his family? Well, we'll tell you. $150,000. Now do you get it? Okay. The honey farmer now regrets voting for Donald Trump 3 times as president's policies are wiping out a major source of reliable revenue. Let's have him say it best.
Did you ever think when you voted for President Trump that things were going to cost you more and you were going to lose money?
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
Among other things, Jim imports packaging supplies for his honey, so he's paying real close attention to the tariffs Trump just put in place.
We just bought our year's supply of bottles from Taiwan and our year's supply of corks from Portugal about 3 weeks ago.
It's probably good timing, okay? So here's a man who we have to call him a MAGA loyalist, a Trump loyalist 3 times, even after January 6th. So he likes the guy, but not anymore. Jim Hartman is his name, North Carolina beekeeper who makes raw honey. I love raw honey. It's very good for you too. It's good for everyone. It's got medicinal purposes as well. Anyway, he's in North Carolina. He said it's not just the tariffs actually that have him fretting about the future. Hartman said he lost $150,000, a contract for that amount with the federal government, which would in turn provide the raw honey to schools and food banks. Well, Donald Trump cut that program as part of the federal government's belt tightening. Lana Blackstar, friends there with some of the details here. For a lot of other local farmers around here, it was a major source of reliable revenue, Hartman told CNN. For me, it's gonna cost me $150,000 a year. That's roughly 50% of his annual revenue. Those tariffs threaten to take even more. Packaging supplies, you heard him talk about that. To send his honey, it's gonna cost him another $5,000 to $6,000, Hartman said. There is no more room in the budget for him to replace old or outdated equipment. And forget about hiring new workers. I mean, we're not gonna hire any more people, that's for sure, Jim Hartman said. Now, during his first term, Donald Trump bailed out farmers impacted by what were modest tariffs compared to what's being proposed now. And the fund used in that bailout is nearly depleted and isn't due to be replenished for several months. It's unclear how much, if any, money the federal government might add. Well, one thing's for sure, Jim, they're gonna make it up as they go. They don't have a plan for this. It's just Donald Trump threw something at the wall or Wall Street, and here we are. Here we are. There's just not the room for maneuvering in the federal budget to do bailouts, said Christopher Barrett, an economist at Cornell University. COVID and the first Trump administration's tax cuts combined wrecked the federal budget. Some experts say the losses accrued this time around would be nearly impossible to compensate, as inflation has already caused prices for fertilizer and seed to soar. Prices for major crops like soybeans and corn have plummeted roughly 40% since 2022. Now, a Kentucky-based farmer, let's go to Kentucky, warned we're close to losing a generation of farmers. Remember, we already don't have enough to feed us. Certainly getting a lot of stuff from the rest of the world. We have an example of what happened in the past, and it's a very similar situation, except the farm economy at that time was much stronger than it is now. Caleb Ragland, president of the American Soybean Association and a Kentucky farmer, told Politico, "We don't have any margin for error. We're going to lose a generation of young farmers." I bet you farming something too that once you're out, very few people come back to it. You're surviving, if you're lucky enough, on something else. It's too scary. You got to put everything into it. Maybe you have to sell your land. Might not get them back. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins has announced plans for trade missions in a bid to open up expanded export markets in 6 different countries, including India and the United Kingdom, that were among those slapped with new tariffs. Now, on Thursday, Rollins acknowledged that USDA is setting up the infrastructure to account for any short-term economic hardships farmers and ranchers might face. So you see what she's saying there? Again, I want to declare she's not ready for prime time, but then again, when the man at the top is willy-nilly doing things, I don't know how anyone can prepare for this. How do you even prepare? She said, we're setting up things to kind of fill in the gaps. That may be too late for farmers who are paying away from this or that, living crop to crop. When asked by CNN if he would change his vote if he had it to do over, Hartman, a 3-time Trump voter, said, "Perhaps I should have considered other options." And like I said, when I first heard the story, the team said, this is what we're going to lead with. My gut, my instinct, my muscle memory was to say, well, exactly what you didn't see what happened. I find it incredible that these kinds of people, I hate saying these people, it makes us sound like we're not all in the same human race, society, but it doesn't feel like we are all in the same pool. But anyway, that I'm being honest with you when I tell you that my gut is, are we supposed to feel sorry for you? But I thought a lot about what Jank said to me a couple weeks ago. We were doing the main show, and I actually think it's something that I can't let go of. It makes a good point. If you are a decent American, and let's say Jim Hartman, the farmer, is, okay, just doing what he does with his honeybees in North Carolina. He thought Trump was going to help. Okay, didn't Fox even play the January 6th thing? Good people on both sides, Charlottesville. But again, I'm getting away from what I told you I was, okay. I want to believe, and in fact, there's most of me not knowing Jim Hartman, the farmer, honeybee farmer, North Carolina. I believe he's probably a good guy and just looked at the world and the window through his lens, okay? Can't expect him, I guess. I can't expect him to feel what this Black woman feels when I hear and see certain things out of this administration. Jim Hartman is not a Black woman. He's a honeybee farmer, and Trump promised, and he went to certain sources and disinformation probably in play because Trump told us what he was going to do. He was going to kill everything. He even said, you won't have to vote anymore. Guess what? You'll be done. All good. I got you. Dictator, day one. But Jim perhaps didn't hear that, but I'm pretty sure Sean Hannity pushed back. Okay, there I go again. I'm sure Hannity, remember, said, but you don't actually mean a dictator. And Trump said, I do. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that was on Fox News with one of his exclusive sit downs with Sean. But anyway, I keep saying I'm not going to do it, and then I do again. And I go backwards. I do feel for this honeybee farmer. And if I actually feel it in here, I have some empathy here. I actually do. But let's say that you don't have that and you're not too touchy-feely. Feel for him on another, selfishly. Less honeybee farmers means not good for the rest of society. Less farmers means, well, prices are going to go up even more. We're already talking about how much were the avocados? I don't buy them anymore. My daughter loves them, okay? I would like to try to grow a tree inside, but I don't think I'll be very successful with that, okay? I know how things go around here. But I do feel some empathy for him, and I feel for the rest of us who, through no fault of our own, are stuck in this menacing dictatorship. I don't know if Jim's gonna be able to stay in business, if the help from Secretary Rollins is gonna come in time, if the bottles will be affordable. Remember, he needs these bottles to distribute his product. I don't know. I know it's not looking good. And this beekeeper is but one example, okay? Because he's speaking out. And I think in a way that is admirable because of this. He didn't have to go on CNN and talk about his vote. He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to go on CNN and talk about his vote, and he did not have to admit that he voted for Trump 3 times and he now has regrets and he's losing everything, because people like me would then say, but he did it. And I like that. I like people who can reflect and look at themselves and say, you know what? I should have done it differently. And maybe even people tried to tell me, but I didn't. I think I'm that kind of person. You think I'm that kind of person? I think I can. I think I can take a deep look. I'm actually a deep thinker to my detriment. Sometimes I can't get anything done because I'm thinking, what could I have done better? Should I have done that? How about this? What if I consider that? How would other people feel? I'm an empath, I think. And I think that this guy shouldn't just be looked at for, oh, now woe is me. Now that I have this issue, it's suddenly everything's becoming clear. By the way, how did CNN find him and get in touch with him? Because if Cenk's right and certain people were just watching certain outlets, how would he even know CNN exists except, fake news? Okay, that's what they were dubbed. I don't know. I'm rambling, is the way I feel about it. But here we are again. We've brought you several Jim Hartman types, right? Who have said, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe that this is where I am. He was supposed to fix it. Prices down day one. The war in Ukraine, day one, it's over. It's still going on. And I think Russia did more crimes against humanity just the other day.